Hi everyone, welcome to the Yoga Wild YouTube channel. My name is Tera and the pronouns I use are she, her. This is movement medicine. If you haven't already done so or you're new to the channel, take a moment to press the subscribe button. In this flow, we are going to pull a card from the medicine card deck. This deck is written by Jamie Sands, who is of Iroquois and Cherokee descent, as well as David Carson of Choctaw descent. We'll utilize one of these cards to guide our flow today. So while I shuffle, take a moment for yourself to grab any last-minute props you might need. Water, a blanket, towel. I always like to have 2 blocks on hand, but if you don't have 2 blocks on hand, you can try to grab anything that might be useful like blocks, perhaps 2 thick books. Once you have your props all together, take a moment to find your way into a supine position, lying on your back, soles of the feet touching the earth, knees pointed up. From there, allow the eyes to close or soften towards the ceiling. Take this moment to feel the ground underneath you, the gentle press of gravity against your body and the floor. Feeling the breath going in and out, rising and falling. And today, we call on the medicine of the elk. Take a long breath in and open mouth release. One more like that, inhale. Open mouth, send it out. Elk, your antlers reach for the sun. Show me that strength and stamina are one. Elk wandered through the forest looking for a partner. The mating season was in full swing, and the bucks that usually traveled with the other males had dispersed to find mates for the season. As Elk bellowed his mating call through the forest, his bugling alerted Mountain Lion that a feast could be in the making. Mountain Lion circled Elk, getting closer to his prey moment by moment. Elk sensed the impeding danger when the forest grew suddenly silent. He broke for the high country when he spotted his pursuer, but Mountain Lion was far behind. As Elk made a running leap for the timberline, Mountain Lion gained on him. But Elk continued to run onward, displaying tremendous stamina. Finally, Mountain Lion gave up, having spent his energy in spurts as he tried to jump over boulders to reach Elk. Elk paced himself, making headway as he climbed skyward towards the high country. Elk has no other defense except his ability to go the distance, setting a pace that allowed him to utilize his stamina and energy to the fullest. Elk medicine teaches that pacing yourself will increase your stamina. Elk medicine people may not be the first ones to arrive at a goal, but they always arrive without getting burned out. If you have taken on too much recently, it might be a good idea to look at how you plan to finish what you have started without ending up in the hospital. Take a long breath in and a slow breath out. Let us hold the medicine of the elk as we practice today, calling on stamina, the wisdom to pace ourselves physically, mentally, as we move through this practice. Plant your feet firmly into the floor. Take an inhale, lift the hips, reach your arms up overhead into a low bridge. And as you exhale, lower the hips, lower the hands. Flow like this a few more times. Inhale, lift, reach up and overhead. And exhale, set yourself down. Inhale, lift and reach. This time, leave your arms where they are, and exhale, lower the hips to the floor. Breathe here, inviting a gentle stretch into your shoulders. Engage through your belly, press your back body down. Draw your knees in towards your belly or your chest. And then start to rock on your back along your spine until you find enough momentum to rise all the way up to a seat. From here, in a seat, maybe you grab a block or a blanket to place underneath your hips, underneath your sit bones. Allow the eyes to soften or close and settle in. Start to roll out your shoulders, making big circles through both your right and your left shoulder. You can go forward or back, whatever calls to you. And whichever way you started, go the opposite direction, the one that wasn't quite as intuitive or automatic. And let the shoulders settle down. Come to stillness. Bring your attention to your breath. Noticing as you bring attention to it, if perhaps it changes, morphs, or shifts in any way. Feel free to keep the eyes closed. Otherwise, blink them open. Bring your fingertips behind your head and your elbows wide. Inhale, draw the elbows back, open the chest. And then exhale, curl everything in towards center. Inhale, open, expand. And exhale, curl in. One more time, inhale, open. And exhale, bring it in. This time, inhale, bring your arms up and open. Exhale, float the hands down. Gently roll over the legs, move any props out from underneath you, and find tabletop, hands and knees. Once you are there, we'll inhale for cow pose. Belly drops down. Pull your heart through and forward, look forward. Then exhale, cat. Press your upper back towards the ceiling. Tuck your tailbone and your chin towards center. Inhale, cow. And exhale, cat. Now keep moving with the pace of your breath. If you would like to, you can make this a little bit more wild, a little more exploratory. Coloring outside the lines, press back, move into your wrists, your shoulders, your head, and your neck. However your body calls you to move. If you're not sure what that is, just try on different things and see how it feels. There's no right or wrong. Take one last cycle of breath, and then move back to a neutral tabletop. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, downward facing dog. Take some time in your down dog to pedal out the legs, bend and straighten the knees, adjust the hands, and then settle into stillness in your pose. Bringing your awareness back to breath. As we hold this pose, calling in the medicine here of the elk, of stamina. Is there anything that you could adjust or shift in order to hold this a few more breaths? On your own, take 2 more cycles of breath. After you have completed your second cycle of breath, start to walk your feet towards your hands. Working to not be in a rush to get there, but instead to move slowly, noticing how it feels in your body to move today. Bring your feet to about hip-width distance. Let your upper body hang over the legs, ragdoll pose. Soften at the knees. Feel free to sway side to side if you'd like. You can grab opposite arms or let the arms hang heavy towards the floor, whatever feels more comfortable. And move back to center. Everyone together, let the arms float down towards the mat. Keep the relaxation through the arms, the head, and the neck. Press into your feet to start to activate the legs, and then begin to curl up your spine, one vertebrae at a time. Arms hang heavy, head hangs heavy. Keep pressing down into your feet. Taking as many cycles of breath as is needed to rise all the way up to mountain pose. And use an inhale to reach your arms up overhead, upward salute. And exhale, bend the elbows, fingertips come to behind the head. Press into your feet, inhale, pull the elbows back in space. And exhale, forward fold. Plant the hands, step straight back to downward facing dog. Long breath in, slow breath out. Inhale. As you exhale, step your right foot forward beside your right thumb, help it up if needed, and then ground the back knee. Here's a place you can always put a blanket underneath the knee if you're on a more firm floor. And then inhale, rise up to a grounded lunge. Reach your arms up overhead. Exhale and breathe here. Take a moment to first set up your legs, the base of your pose. We want about 2 90-degree bends in our knees. This way we can really be active through the legs. Pull your inner thighs towards center. Lift up and out of your pelvis. Press down through your front foot. Firm up your glutes. Firm up your belly, and then bend the elbows, fingertips behind the head. From here, lift the sternum up. Start to shift the gaze up towards the ceiling. A really small back bend. We're not looking for anything deep, but instead just be really intentional. Keep the legs turned on. And then inhale, lift, shoulders over hips, reach up. Exhale, bend the elbows, lift the heart. One more like this. Inhale, lift and reach. And exhale, bend the elbows, lift the heart. Inhale, lift. And then exhale, fingertips plant down, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, active lunge. Here's an opportunity to utilize blocks if you have them. You can place blocks underneath your fingers at any of the 3 heights. I really like blocks because it gives me more space to lengthen out through the spine. From here, if you need to, adjust the feet so that they're in 2 separate lanes. So we don't have one right in front of the other, but instead they're parallel too. Start to activate your legs, press into your front foot, pull your right hip back. Press down into your feet so much so that you feel a little bit more lightness through the hands. And then maybe you come up onto your fingertips. And then maybe the fingers are hovering. And then if you want to add just a little more fire, perhaps you reach your arms straight forward. Hold here, breathe, one solid line from your fingertips to your back heel. Calling in that stamina because the legs might be on fire. We got a little tremble. Stay with breath. Inhale, lift all the way up, crescent lunge, shoulders over hips. Breathe here. Take a moment to notice your pose. Maybe you need to adjust your stance. You can bring your feet a little wider, a little closer together. And once you feel stable and grounded, hold here and breathe. We're looking for mountain pose through our pelvis. So notice where your hips are at. If you feel the left one really pulled back, see what you can do in order to draw the left hip forward. Maybe the back knee softens. Inhale. And then exhale, spin the back heel flat, warrior 2. Arms go wide, send the gaze forward over the front hand. Deep bend into your front knee. Energy pushes down through your back leg. Soften the face. We'll take a moment to really stick with and be in this pose, noticing the physical sensations that arise, the mind chatter that might arise, how that perhaps shifts our breath, Maybe there's an emotion. Can we notice without being attached? Observe out of curiosity. Take one last inhale. And then exhale, cartwheel both hands down. Step your right foot back and carefully lower to the floor from your toes or your knees. Inhale, low cobra, lift the head and the chest. Exhale, lower down. Tuck the toes under, inhale, press up, plank. And exhale, downward facing dog. Find your breath. Inhale. And then exhale, step your left foot forward, left foot beside the left thumb. Now, if it doesn't quite make it, that's all right. Just help it all the way up. Ground your back knee. Inhale, rise up, grounded lunge. Exhale, hold here and breathe. Take a moment to adjust and find your strong grounded lunge, activating the legs, the glutes, lifting the weight out of the right knee even. Keep this firmness, this intention through your legs. Pull your low belly up. Bend at the elbows, fingertips behind the head. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, hold here, breathe. Sternum up towards the ceiling. Keep pulling the right hip forward and the left hip back. Doesn't need to be big, and if we want it to be big or we're striving for that, can we ask why? What is that about? Why do we need it? Inhale, rise up, lift up. And then exhale, mini back bend, elbows wide, lift the heart. Inhale, reach up, shoulders over hips. Exhale, elbows wide, lift the chest. Last one, inhale, lift and reach. And exhale, elbows wide, sternum to the ceiling. Inhale, lift. And then exhale, fingertips to the mat, active lunge. Tuck the back toes, lift the knee. Option to grab your blocks here. Readjust if you need to through your feet, and then really fire on the legs. Hugging muscle to bone, lengthen through the spine, draw the shoulders back. From here, as you fire on the legs, maybe you start to allow the fingers to get a bit lighter. Come to the fingertips. Firm up the core. Steady the gaze. Maybe the fingers float off the blocks or the mat. And perhaps, if you want to add more, you reach forward, hold, breathe here. Noticing the difference on this side over the last side. Staying with the sensations that arise, breathe. Inhale, lift, crescent lunge, shoulders over hips. Breathe here. Take a moment, adjust. Sometimes when we first get into a pose, it might not feel exactly where we want to be. It's okay to make adjustments. It's not like we're stuck in cement or frozen. So steady yourself, find your breath, and micro adjustments as needed. Hold here. One more inhale. Exhale, warrior two. Spin the back heel down to the mat. Reach your arms wide, send the gaze over the front fingertips. Deep bend into the front knee. If you feel the knee kind of collapsing inward towards your big toe, see if you can instead pull it out towards the pinky toe side edge of your foot. And once again, stamina. How can we adjust to stay in this pose? Now, I won't ask you this, but if I were to say, we're going to hold here for 5 minutes, what would you need to do to make that possible? Maybe it's coming out a little bit. Maybe it's adjusting through your torso or your feet. One more inhale. And then exhale, cartwheel both hands down. Step your left foot back from your toes or your knees, lower down to the floor. Untuck the toes, lift the knees. Inhale, low cobra. Exhale, lower. Tuck the toes under again. Inhale, straighten the arms, press up, plank, toes or knees. And exhale, down dog. Breath in. Open mouth, breath out. Nice. Long inhale. And slow exhale. All right, inhale. Exhale, step the right foot forward, ground the back knee. Inhale, rise up, grounded lunge. Straight into it. Exhale, bend the elbows wide, lift the chest. 2 more. Inhale, lift and reach. Firm up the legs. Exhale, lift the sternum to the ceiling. Inhale, lift. And exhale, sternum lifts, elbows out. All right, inhale, rise up. Exhale, active low lunge. Inhale, straight up to crescent lunge. Exhale, warrior 2. Hold for 1 inhale. And then exhale, cartwheel the hands down, step back and lower to the floor. Inhale, low cobra. Exhale, lower. Inhale, press up, plank. And exhale, down dog. Other side, inhale. Exhale, left foot comes forward. Ground the back knee. Inhale, rise to grounded lunge. Exhale, elbows wide, lift the sternum. Mini back bend. Inhale, reach up, fire up the legs. Exhale, lift the heart, elbows wide. Inhale, lift. Last time, exhale, lift the sternum. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, fingertips down, a lunge, back knee lifts. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, warrior 2. Hold for 1 inhale. And then exhale, cartwheel both hands down. Step your left foot back and carefully lower yourself to the floor. Inhale, low cobra. Exhale, lower down. Tuck the toes. Inhale, press up, plank, toes or knees. Exhale, down dog. Breath in. Breath out. Inhale. Exhale, step or walk, feet to the front of your mat. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, hold here, breathe. Take a moment to set up. Some of us might want to have our feet together to touch. Others might want to bring your feet to about hip width distance. So you can try on both, see what you like better. Firm up the core. And then inhale, lift, upward salute, straighten the legs, reach up. Exhale, elbows wide, lift the sternum. Inhale, reach. And again, exhale, elbows wide, lift the sternum. This time, inhale, reach, 1 leg Tadasana, left leg lifts. Exhale, hold here, breathe. So, if we want a little extra stability, you can always let the left toes touch down. But we want to make sure that the majority of the weight is in our standing leg. Another option is to place our hands on a wall, on a chair, or a table. Hold here, finding the balance, lifting up out of your standing hip, noticing when we start to sink towards the floor. Take an inhale. Exhale, figure 4, cross the left ankle over the right thigh and start to sit back in space. Hands can come to heart center. Another option again is, of course, hands coming to a table, a chair, a wall, or your 2 blocks. Hold and breathe. Sit your hips back a little deeper for more sensation. Inhale, lift up 1 leg Tadasana. And then exhale, take your left hand, grab your left foot. We'll take a quad stretch. Hold here and breathe. So this feels probably a little simple, but we want to be really aware of where our body is at in space and what's happening. So for me, who has really tight hamstring, or rather quads, If I were to point my knee all the way down to the floor, all of a sudden, my ribs open, my pelvis is swayed. So instead, I gotta firm up through the core. And it's okay to allow the knee to point forward just slightly. From here, if you feel steady and balanced, you can take your right hand, grab for the left foot as well. Hold here and breathe. Maybe you start to feel a little heat or sensation through your right standing leg. Notice it, be with it. Last breath in. And exhale, slowly release. Shake out that right leg, let it go. Woo. All right, come back to your 2 feet. Feet either hip width distance or to touch. Move into chair. Inhale, hold here. Exhale, breathe. More weight towards your heels so the toes can wiggle and are softly resting on the mat. Engage the core. Press into the feet. Inhale, lift, upward salute. Straighten the legs. Exhale, elbows wide, lift the chest. Inhale, lift and reach. Exhale, lift the chest, elbows wide. Inhale, lift. This time, one leg Tadasana, right leg lifts. Exhale, figure 4, across the right ankle over the left thigh. Sit back. Hands can come to heart or one of the other variations for added stability. And remember, we don't have to take the same variation on both sides. We might need something different. Give yourself permission to do that something different. See if you can lengthen through the spine, noticing if we start to curl or collapse inward. Lift the sternum, pull the shoulders back. Soften the gaze, the muscles around the eyes. Move your awareness, your attention to the sense of your body breathing. Inhale, lift all the way up, one leg Tadasana. Exhale, hold here. Lift up out of your left hip. Once again, as always, toes can touch down. And then we'll take that quad stretch. Reach back, right hand to right foot. Engage through the belly. Try to point both your hip bones forward. Noticing if the rib cage starts to flare or the pelvis starts to tilt one way or the other. And then if you feel balanced and ready, maybe you grab for the foot with your left hand as well. Feeling into the left foot, the entirety of your left leg. Grow a little taller, crown of the head towards the ceiling. Inhale. Exhale, slowly release. Shake out that left leg. Whew. All right, reset. And then find mountain pose. Feet together or hip width distance. Inhale, arms sweep high. Exhale and fold. Plant the hands. Step back to plank. Inhale. And then exhale, lower yourself to the floor. Inhale, low cobra. Exhale, lower. Inhale, press up to plank, straighten the arms. Exhale, down dog. Take a moment in your down dog, once again, to pedal out the legs, stretch out the feet. Take this moment for yourself to add any free movement that you'd like. You can take a step off the mat, get a little crazy. Move back into your breath. Hold here. Inhale. Long exhale. One more inhale. And then as you exhale, lower your knees to the mat. We're going to take camel pose. So to get set up, you're going to stand up on your knees. Knees will be about hip width distance, so knees under hips. From here, lengthen out of the crown of your head. Start to firm up the belly and the glutes. Bring your hands behind you to your low back. Now, some of us might have the fingertips pointed down. Others might want to point the fingertips up. It sort of depends on your structure, your wrists, your body. So take a moment to explore what that feels like. Where does it feel comfortable? Then roll your shoulders down your back, opening through the heart. Elbows point back behind you. We're going to do this camel pose really slow. So inhale, lengthen. Exhale, start to lift the sternum towards the ceiling. Just a small movement. Hold here, inhale. And exhale, sternum lifts a little higher towards the ceiling. Keep the gaze up. Breathe, inhale. And exhale a little deeper. Keep going like this until you find the depth that serves you. That place where it feels a little bit challenging, but at the same time you're able to stay steady with your breath, staying present in the body. One last inhale. As you exhale, start to lift the shoulders up and lower the hips down. Bring your hands to your thighs. Allow the eyes to go soft or closed. Moving our awareness to our heartbeat. Noticing if we can sense the pulsation in our body, our chest, our neck, our fingertips. How in our practice we call on elk and really utilize stamina to keep ourselves going throughout the entire thing, not race towards a pose or towards a certain depth, but instead keep going at a steady pace, trusting the process and the practice, ourselves. Long inhale, long exhale. Let your hips move to one side, your feet come out from underneath you, sweep them forward. You might have to scoot down on your mat and then lower yourself onto your back. Lift your feet straight up to the ceiling. And hold here in a legs up the wall variation. There's always the option just to let the legs be still. But if you want to, maybe you start to stretch the toes, flex and point the feet, roll out the ankles. Feeling your back body heavy against the floor. Inhale. And exhale, draw the knees in. Take a moment to rock on your back. Rock side to side. Make circles around your low back or your outer hips. And go up and down. Just giving yourself a self-massage against the floor. From here, come back to center. Inhale, draw everything in tightly towards center. And then exhale, Shavasana. Legs go out long, arms by your sides, palms face up. Take some time to settle in. Get any movements out or to rearrange your body, your pose. Grab props. Release any residual control over your breathing. Notice the places in which you might still be holding on, perhaps unintentionally. As you become aware of them, invite them to soften a bit more. Elk could be telling you to look at how you are holding up physically to the stresses in your life and to pace yourself so that you maintain an equilibrium of energy over the distance you plan to cover. Elk, your antlers reach for the sun. Show me that strength and stamina are one. Where in your life may you need to pace yourself a bit more? Be ready for the long haul, to keep going, steady and strong. How can elk medicine be utilized on the mat and off the mat, in our physical poses, as well as in our daily life? If you would like to stay in Shavasana longer, you are more than welcome to do that. If you feel ready to reawaken, start to bring movement back to your hands, your feet. Deepen your breath. And eventually find your way back up to a seated position. We'll unite the breath. All together, exhale out of your mouth. Empty completely. Through your nose, inhale, fill all the way up, all the way down to your belly. Hold an open mouth, audible sigh. Your own breath will resume. I invite you to place a palm to your chest, to your heart. And then maybe you place the second palm over the first, holding your heart. As we move through our practice and through the world, may each of us have the strength and the understanding of the connection between all beings and all things on this planet Earth, while also having the wisdom to acknowledge and to honor the individuality between all peoples, all beings, and all things. May we use this understanding to take action to create a more just and equitable world for all. It's with love and with gratitude, and I bow my head to you. Thank you for taking the time for your practice to join me today. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like it. And if you have a moment, perhaps you can leave a comment below about where you are utilizing stamina in your practice or in your life.